ever wondered if the charming person you just met could secretly be a master manipulator or even a psychopath? Welcome to our exploration into the fascinating and somewhat unsettling world of the dark triad. This term, coined by psychologists, refers to a trio of personality traits that, when combined, can create a particularly potent and potentially destructive cocktail. First up is narcissism. Imagine someone who's excessively preoccupied with themselves, their desires, and their image. They are often charismatic and attractive, drawing people in with their self-confidence. But beneath the surface, there's a need for constant admiration and an inability to empathize with others. Next, we have Machiavellianism. This trait is named after the Italian diplomat Niccolo Machiavelli, who famously advocated for manipulation and deception in politics. Those who exhibit Machiavellian traits are cunning, strategic, and often emotionally detached. They view others as pawns in their game, to be used for their own gain. Lastly, there's psychopathy. The term might conjure images of serial killers, but the reality is often far less dramatic. Psychopathy is characterized by a lack of remorse or empathy, impulsivity, and a bold, disinhibited nature. It's important to note, however, that not all psychopaths are violent or criminal. The dark triad traits are intriguing, to say the least. They capture our attention in movies and books, but they also pose significant questions for psychologists and mental health professionals. How do these traits develop? What impact do they have on relationships and communities? And perhaps most importantly, how do we recognize and navigate these traits when we encounter them in our everyday lives? There's a lot to unpack here, and we're just scratching the surface. Intrigued? Good. Because we're about to delve deeper into each of these traits, exploring their nuances, their impacts, and their manifestations in our society. So buckle up, because it's going to be a fascinating journey into the human psyche. Delve into the dark triad with us, as we unmask the faces of narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Imagine someone who thinks they're superior, entitled, and lacks empathy. You've just pictured a narcissist. Now let's delve deeper into the world of the charismatic narcissist. The term narcissism itself stems from the Greek myth of Narcissus, a man so infatuated with his own reflection that he lost his will to live. This story paints a vivid picture of narcissism's core characteristics. A narcissist is, in essence, an individual who has an inflated sense of self-importance and a deep need for admiration. They believe they are unique, superior, and should only associate with high-status people or institutions. Yet beneath this facade of confidence and bravado lies a fragile self-esteem, susceptible to the slightest criticism. Psychological research has shown that narcissism is more than just an overblown ego. It's a complex and multifaceted personality disorder that can have serious implications on mental health. Narcissists often struggle with feelings of emptiness, worthlessness, and sadness when they're not in the spotlight or the center of attention. Let's look at some real-life examples. We've all met a charismatic narcissist at some point. That charming co-worker who always manages to turn the conversation back to themselves. The friend who constantly needs validation. Or the partner who's always looking for admiration. However, the charm and charisma of a narcissist can be deceptive. While they may appear confident and engaging, they often lack empathy and have little regard for others' feelings or needs. Their relationships are typically superficial and exist only to serve their own needs. Narcissism can be harmful to relationships and mental health. It can lead to toxic relationships, where the narcissist's needs are always prioritized over others. This behavior can cause significant emotional trauma for those involved, often leading to feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and depression. So while they may seem charming, narcissists can leave a trail of emotional destruction in their wake. As we peel back the layers of the dark triad, it's crucial to remember that not all that glitters is gold. And with narcissists, the shine is often just a reflection of their own self-obsession. Have you ever met a person who manipulates others for personal gain? Then you've likely encountered a Machiavellian. Imagine a chess player, always planning several moves ahead, calculating every possible outcome. That's the essence of a Machiavellian. They're not necessarily malevolent, but they're certainly strategic. They manipulate situations and people like pawns on a chessboard, always with a clear endgame in mind. Their primary goal? Personal gain. Machiavellianism, named after the Italian political philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli, is characterized by a duplicitous interpersonal style, a cynical disregard for morality, and a focus on self-interest and personal gain. It's one of the three components of what psychologists call the dark triad, along with narcissism and psychopathy. While we all have a bit of Machiavellianism in us, those high on this trait can be harmful to social and professional environments. They often create a toxic atmosphere where trust is eroded and everyone is on edge. They're adept at exploiting others' weaknesses, twisting words and situations to suit their needs, and leaving a trail of confusion in their wake. Research in psychology has shown that high Machiavellian individuals are more likely to engage in workplace deviance, such as theft, sabotage, or bullying. They're also more likely to cheat in relationships and to engage in deceitful behaviors. They excel in situations where the rules are ambiguous and they can twist the truth to their advantage. But it's not all doom and gloom. Machiavellians can also be incredibly charismatic and persuasive. They're often excellent negotiators and can navigate complex social situations with ease. They're the kind of people who can sell ice to Eskimos or convince you that black is white. However, this charm often serves a darker purpose. Like a spider weaving a web, Machiavellians draw others into their sphere of influence, manipulating them for their own ends. It's a game of chess, and they're always several moves ahead. In conclusion, it's crucial to recognize Machiavellian behaviors and their potential impact. They're not necessarily evil, but their strategies can be damaging if left unchecked. Machiavellians, with their cunning strategies, can turn any situation to their advantage, often at the expense of others. What if someone could hurt others without feeling any guilt? That's the chilling reality of psychopathy. Psychopathy, the third and arguably most unsettling branch of the dark triad, is characterized by a pervasive pattern of disregard for and violation of the rights of others. Psychopaths are often described as cold-hearted, manipulative, and ruthless. They're not bound by the same emotional constraints as most people, which makes their behavior particularly unpredictable and potentially dangerous. Psychopathy is not a one-size-fits-all label. Psychological research has shown that it's a spectrum disorder, with individuals exhibiting varying degrees of traits such as impulsivity, callousness, and a lack of empathy. It's also worth noting that not all psychopaths are violent criminals. Some may lead seemingly normal lives, all the while manipulating and deceiving those around them without a second thought. Let's delve into a real-life scenario to illustrate this. Imagine a corporate executive who, on the surface, appears charming and successful. Behind closed doors, however, they're ruthlessly exploiting their colleagues for personal gain, without any sense of guilt or remorse. This is a classic example of a high-functioning psychopath. Psychopathy is believed to be the result of a combination of genetic and environmental factors, though the exact cause is still a topic of ongoing research. Some studies suggest that psychopaths have a reduced capacity for experiencing emotions, especially those related to fear and distress. This emotional deficit may explain why they're able to engage in harmful behavior without experiencing the guilt or remorse that would typically deter such actions. The danger of psychopathy lies not just in its potential for violence, but also in its capacity for manipulation and deceit. Because psychopaths often lack empathy, they're able to harm others without feeling any emotional distress. This lack of remorse can lead to a pattern of dangerous behavior that poses a serious threat to individuals and society as a whole. Psychopaths, with their lack of empathy and remorse, can pose a serious threat to society. So, what does it mean when someone possesses traits of the dark triad? Let's remind ourselves of the journey we've taken to understand these darker aspects of the human psyche. We've ventured into the territory of the Charismatic Narcissist, the Cunning Machiavellian, and the Cold Psychopath. Each of these personality types presents a unique set of challenges, but it's when they overlap that the real shadows emerge. Our exploration began with the narcissist, an individual who, beneath a veneer of charisma and charm, is excessively self-centered and lacks empathy. They're driven by a thirst for admiration and validation, often leaving a trail of emotional destruction in their wake. Yet, they're frequently magnetic, drawing people into their orbit before revealing their true colors. We then delved into the world of the Machiavellian. These individuals are the puppet masters of human interaction, skilled manipulators who use cunning and deceit to achieve their goals. They're strategic and calculating, always playing the long game, and their lack of moral compass can lead them to exploit others without remorse. Our journey then took a chilling turn towards the psychopath. Unlike the narcissist and the Machiavellian, the psychopath lacks any genuine emotional connection. They're cold and detached, viewing others as mere objects to be used for their own gain. Their lack of guilt or remorse is deeply unsettling, and their charm often masks a dangerous lack of empathy. These traits can and often do overlap, creating a potent blend of manipulation, self-centeredness, and emotional detachment. Such individuals can be incredibly damaging, and it's vital to recognize the signs and take steps to protect yourself. Research suggests that maintaining a strong network of supportive relationships, setting firm boundaries, and seeking professional advice can be effective strategies against the dark triad. The dark triad, while fascinating, is a stark reminder of the darker aspects of human nature. Stay vigilant, and remember, not all that glitters is gold.